Before the video starts, fair warning, the beginning is mostly ranting about the comments that I got last video. There were quite a few interesting opinions, to say the least. And as you most likely don't care about that, skip here to get to the explanation on how Arcane Persistence works. So yeah. Hey. Following my Arcane Persistence stress test, there's been a lot of comments. First, there's been a lot of complaints about my aspect ratio. So, I play on a Samsung Odyssey J9, meaning I have an aspect ratio of 32:9 when playing on full screen. While most of you guys are probably around 21:9 or something smaller. And I'm just gonna have to say, quite frankly, I don't care. I'm sorry that you guys hate this aspect ratio, and I understand that it can be quite a pain to watch on YouTube when your screen is smaller. But once again, I don't care. This is the way I prefer playing Warframe. I really like having this ultra wide, and I mean ultra wide is not even quite accurate here, since ultra wide is considered 21:9. This is more like super ultra wide. Anyhow, this is my preferred aspect ratio for gaming. I just feel like it's more immersive, and no, I don't break my neck having to look at my health at the top right and my map. But I am pretty athletic, I guess, so I can move my neck around maybe a bit better than normal people, something like that. Anyhow, the main purpose of this video is to describe or explain how Arcane Persistence works. There's been a lot of people that just didn't quite understand what I was doing, not yesterday, but on my previous stress test, so I'll just explain everything here. So first of all, some of you guys mentioned how I was running adaptation here, and well, yes, it's useless on this build. And that's exactly why I left it there. I didn't think it was gonna bother anyone. But to be fair, I suppose it does affect the result of the stress test. But it's such a small difference that I don't think it matters. But anyhow, I'll be using this here instead to show you how this arcane works. So, first of all, why did I die during the stress test? Now, I'll have to come out and say it. It was a stress test testing Arcane Persistence, not inaros. Yes, if I simply cast my third ability, I become status immune, which makes Arcane Persistence a whole hell of a lot more reliable. But once again, the title was Arcane Persistence Stress Test, not a Arcane Persistence build. But here I'm going to show you a Arcane Persistence build, and just how, when you mix it with other things, it can be a really powerful arcane. So, before doing the test that I did during the Arcane Persistence stress test, I'll explain to you how Arcane Persistence works. So, as you know, it will prevent any damage that is over 500 from hitting you per second, with the only exceptions of 1, when you are inside a nullifier bubble, 2, when your armor threshold is no longer at 700, and 3, when you are getting hit by something that simply ignores Arcane Persistence. So, what ignores Arcane Persistence, you ask? Leech Eximus. So far, they are the only enemy that I've seen that simply ignore Arcane Persistence. So with this build, while Arcane Grace is active, my inaros is invincible, because he heals more than 500 health per second. But Sanguine Eximus, the aura that they put on the ground, hits you twice per second, and every hit removes 5% of your health. And that 5% of your health removed is really that. It's not 5% of your health dealt as damage. It's just 5% of your health removed, which is why I think I think is the reason why they ignore Arcane Persistence. Now, for you to believe me, I'll show you the build. I'll have my third ability active, so the Jade Eximus can't kill me since their heat procs are getting cancelled, and same for the Energy Leech Eximus. The only thing here that's going to kill me are the Sanguine Eximus. And then after that, we're going to do the test again, but this time I'm going to replace every Sanguine Eximus with regular ones, or of another variant, and you'll see I survive. So as you can see here, Arcane Grace is active. I'm healing, but I'm not healing enough, and then I died. Okay, now there is not a single Sanguine Eximus, and we're going to do the test again. And as long as my Arcane Grace procs, you'll see I'm not going to die. So while you can immediately see right here the significant difference. Now I'm actually out healing their damage. Now you still have to get lucky with Arcane Grace, but you have 20 instances of damage before you die, since 10,000 divided by 500 is 20. And as long as you get at least one of those 20 instances to trigger Arcane Grace, you should be fine. But I guess today is not my lucky day. Let's run that test again. And by the way, Scarab Armor Augment is still an amazing one to use. Alright, now we go back, and now let's just hope that Arcane Grace actually procs. And you'll see as long as it's active, I won't die. So, as you can see, my Arcane Grace, while it's active, is out healing the damage they can do. And it really is that simple. Because there's no Sanguine Eximus hitting me, I'm not getting that 5% health tick. So, I live. But, well, I suppose even 20 instances of, I think it's 6% chance of Arcane Grace proccing, or it's a 9% chance, is not that common. But you have abilities to heal yourself, like Desiccation, Sandstorm, and others. But as you can see, once again, the only thing that can kill me, as long as the build works, are the Sanguine Eximus, and not these regular guys. So you have to make sure that your status immunity is active. And now, I've seen some comments say that inaros can actually also survive inside null fire bubbles, but no, that is actually not true. I'll also show you how that's the case. Yes, his third ability is always active, even inside null fire bubbles, but Arcane Persistence is not. So as long as inside that null fire bubble there is enough damage, you will die. So as you can see here, I've got pretty much a perfect setup. And this is more than 500 damage per second. I'm going to die, and I just died, despite Arcane Grace being fully active, and my third ability as well. So as you can see, even inside a null fire bubble, even though your third ability is active, you can still die, because Arcane Persistence gets cancelled. For this next test, I've went ahead and put only Sanguine Eximus, and clearly I should be able to survive these little weaklings, right? Quite literally one of the weakest enemies in the game. But their Leech Aura is what's going to kill me here. As you can see, I should be able to survive this kind of firepower, but I'm not. Because the Sanguine Aura is literally ignoring Arcane Persistence. So, as a final verdict, if you want to use this build, you can do so on any Warframe. But if you want it to really be comfortable, your Warframe needs 3 things. Now, first of all, obviously they need to reach the 700 armor threshold. And 2, you want them to have a way of being status immune. And finally, in my opinion, you want them to have at least 500 base health. Now, this 500 base health thing is like a rough number I'm giving, because I haven't tested this on many warframes. So far, I've done Frost, Kullervo, and Inaros, and Chroma. And well, when you compare this to a warframe like Frost, who has a shit ton of shields, it's not really worth it, since as you can see with this many health mods, I only reach 1,800. So I'll be able to tank essentially 3 seconds worth of damage, but that's only half a second more than relying on his shield gating. But to be fair, it works on everything, so even if it's toxin damage, you'll still be able to survive. So it's really up to you who you want to use it on. Obviously, inaros is the best option. You don't need anything for him to really take advantage of this, since he has Scarab Shell, which gives you exactly what you need, the armor, and the status immunity, and it works inside all fire bubbles, and his base health is ridiculously high. But I don't need to tell you this. And if you're looking at my build, and these Archon shards are making you uncomfortable, yes, I shouldn't have this armor shard here. I was just using it to... Actually, I really didn't need it at all, to be fair. Since I'm Onairu, I literally have enough by default. So, you know, just put more health. Or health regeneration. But if you're using Arcane Grace, it's better to put more health. That way you get more regeneration out of the Grace. I like to have at least one source of health regen outside of Grace, so that if I'm not getting hit at all, at least I'm getting some kind of health. But, once again, that's not the only source of healing you want. If you bring something like the Furus, then you're pretty much set for life, okay? This thing here, if you die, you're just bad at the game. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. And even inaros in his base kit, now he has a shit ton of health regeneration. So, you know, any Warframe can use it. Hell, you can even throw Gloom on. I personally don't like Gloom. I know we've all been, I know we've all got PTSD from, you know who. But, yeah. As for the builds, once again, yeah, no,